You would like to know how to make your MIDI drum sound realistic? Well, let's go! Hi, thank you for stopping by for another video. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am Toby, professional audio engineer at Simple Live Studio, and today I'm going to show you how I proceed my MIDI drums to sound like realistic drums. So let's dive right into the session and make some really cool sounding drums. So I have opened up a blank Cubase session. The first I've inserted here is a VST instrument, the VST drum kit in Cubase. It's Groove Agent, and I have pulled in some samples right here, just for example, to show you what I'm doing. This is what the actually MIDI file looks like. First of all, what's really important to make realistic sounding drums is the velocity section here. But we are not going to dive really deep into this in this video. This is part for another video. It's about humanization on MIDI files. It's about the velocity. It's about timing, to not place anything exactly on the grid depending on the genre and the style of the song. You can make the drummer go a little faster or a little slower to push the rhythm a bit, slow down it a bit, but this is not for this video. This is about how to make MIDI files into audio files and proceed them as they are actually recorded drum tracks. So this is a short example I will play for you so you know what we're dealing with today. This is what the drum kit sounds right now as a MIDI file. One problem is if you run more than one VST instrument like Groove Agent in a session, it could really burn your CPU. This is one reason why I turn the MIDI files into audio files, and another reason is if I turn them from MIDI to audio, I can process them as like they are actually really recorded physical drum sets. So how to do this? Really easy. In Cubase 12 Pro we can set up different outputs for each part of the drum kit. One output for the kick drum, one for the snare example. If your DAW has not this feature, there's another way to do this. I will show you first. Open the instrument, go to the mixer section, and you can export each part of it in solo. Just let's solo the kick. Go to File, Export Audio Mix Down, and now hit the select the drums. And if you now export the audio file, it's just exporting the kick of the drum kit. Next step, you would choose the snare, for example, and the hi-hat, and so on. So, but we are going to do this a little bit easier. We're going to activate the outputs for the VST instrument. Now we have 32 different outputs we can choose from. Open up Groove Agent again. Now you can select for each element a dedicated output. So for a kick example, we're going through output 2. For the snare, through output 3. The room mics and the overheads are the secret sauce to turn MIDI drums into sounding realistic drums. If your VST drum instrument does not have a section like this where you can set up dedicated room mics or overheads, I will show you later in this video how you can simulate this. But first, turn the MIDI into audio. So now we have set up all the different outputs for the Groove Agent, and now we're going to render the MIDI files in place. I've selected my MIDI files and now go edit, render in place. And now Cubase is running the MIDI through all different outputs and is giving you audio files. So let's mute the whole drum kit and let's listen to what Cubase gave us right now. Drums is the whole drum kit. We don't need this yet. Can remove this track. Let's name them real quick. Out 2 is kick. So the rest of the channels are empty. We don't need them. Remove selected tracks. So next step is Cubase gave us stereo files. Kick, snare, hi-hat, for example, they are all bounced down in a stereo, but we want to go with mono files just to make the following processing a little bit easier and we don't have to deal with stereo plugins. So let's do the kick track, for example. Project, convert tracks multi-channel to mono. Select a track. So we have now two separate mono tracks. Kick left, kick right. But it's actually exactly the same, so we just need to go with one of them. Now we're going to do the same with snare. So let's listen to what it sounds right now. Kick, snare, and every left track is now set up on the left side, and just need to go to bring them back to center. Select all the tracks. You want to go from the left to the center. Hit the Q link button at the top of your mix console and bring them back to center. And now we forgot the kick. And that's it. So we have audio files from the MIDI part. We can now proceed as they were real recorded drum sets. A and B overhead. Now I'm going to set up a dedicated drum bus. Every part from the drum kit is now sent to a dedicated group track, to a group channel. This is a stereo channel called drum mix. And everything do on the drum mix bus would affect every part of the audio from the audio files. So the next step would be a parallel compression bus, and I'm going to route the kick, the snare, and all the toms to an effect track. And I'm going to use a compressor, dynamics, and we choose an 1176 because I think the most of you have this plug-in called the drum parallel compression. We can crank this up. Quick release. And now we can add the parallel drum compression path. It makes the whole drum kit sound a little more punchier and almost a little more dirtier. So now we could go through each element and EQ and compress each element as they would be recorded drum tracks. But I promise you I will go to and show you how to simulate room tracks, which makes the drum kit actually really interesting. Just listen to the whole drum kit without the room tracks and overheads. This is what a MIDI drum kit would actually sound like without the room tracks and the overheads. So just to show you what I would do, just remove these tracks and let's say we don't have them. And what I would do now is add another effects track. Select the whole drum kit, add another effects track, and I would choose a reverb, for example, now. And let's go with the Cubase stock reverb. I don't know which is the standard stock reverb from Cubase. I guess would be Roomworks. And let's call this Drum Room. Let's listen to what this sounds like. Set up the mix to 100%. So what you hear is a lot of rumble in the low end, and we don't want to go with all the rumble in the low end. So let's cut this out a little bit. Use a low cut filter. So after that we can saturate this a little bit, and I would use my favorite channel strip plugin, which is the Chaps Omni channel. Some of you might know this one from a previous video I've made about the channel strip. I will link to you in the top right corner, just to make the room mic sound a little bit interesting. I will add a little saturation. A little bit compression. So now let's pull the fader completely down from the drum room track and just add it to taste. So see, drum kit, the MIDI drum kit turned in audio without the room mic. Now let's bring in the room mic. It makes it sound much more interesting, and the reverbs are filling the gaps between every single drum hit. So let's add up overheads. Let's do the same thing once more, but now add a track. Effects channel. Just use the channel strip. Let's call that overheads. And now, first of all, I'm going to send a little bit less from the kick to the overheads. Let's say we drop that about 10 dB. Drop the snare about 5 dB. Now let's listen what we have. It's the overhead in solo. And we're going to reduce low and rumble as well. Same we did to the reverb channel. But do not complete. Just using a low shelf. Bringing up the highs a little bit more. And bring in some saturation here as well, not that much as like on the room track. Now drop the overheads fader and bring in the overheads to taste. Together with a room track. This is all together with the power lag compression, with the simulated room track, and with the simulated overhead. Just to turn them off. This is a MIDI drum kit itself. with parallel compression, with room, with overhead. So this sounds not too bad yet. Let's go and process the single parts of each element a little bit more. Let's make the kick a little punchier, for example. I like to bring in a low cut filter just below the root frequency. And bring up the resonate frequencies a little bit. And there's some mid-range rumble. I'm going to reduce the mid-range rumble a little bit. Bringing up the highs, what makes the kick a little bit snappier. Run it into the compression. So let's do the same thing with the snare. Let's open another channel strip. Same thing. Cut out the low end. Bring up the resonant frequencies just to make the snare a little, give them a little bit more body, make it a little more punchier. I'm going to cut out the mid-range rumble a little bit. Make the snare a little bit more aggressive. And that's it. Sounds not too bad. Now we could also proceed with the drum mix bus. Add a little bit EQ here, just to reduce some more mid-range rumble. And that's it. This would be my way to turn MIDI files into audio files, and now as they are audio files we could clean them up a little bit more, go a little bit deeper on specific compression and such. But for as an example right now to turn how to turn MIDI files into audio files and how to make MIDI files sound interesting as a realistic drum kit, Feel free to drop any comments. How would you proceed with MIDI files, and how would you process MIDI drum kits to sound a little bit more realistic? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. It would help me to produce more videos like this and to help you a little bit. So let's see you in the next video. Ciao.